Maybe you found something medical. In that case, the isotopes don't live very long and it will not be much of a cleanup. Maybe you've found something industrial. Somebody said that you guys had an incident in March with maybe cobalt. Yeah, was it cobalt 60? Say again?
In the customs.
Okay, so cobalt 60, if it was cobalt 60, is an isotope that used to be used in therapy devices. It's also used in industry. It has a half-life of 5 years, so it would last a long time. Okay? If you're talking about terrorists and terrorist threats, it's actually the kind of source that people would make a dirty bomb out of. Okay? Everybody understand dirty bomb? Right, you get radioactive material and you blow it up and spread it up everywhere, right? It's good for that because it lasts quite a long time. The other thing is because there are lots of big cobalt 60 sources out there. Old hospitals and therapy sources, there are lots of them, and there's some in industry too. You also see a lot of cesium sources in industry that turn up, and waste facilities and scrap metal yards, and they just turn up everywhere, and they're quite big sources, and it's something that somebody could make a big mess out of. Also, it's something that you might just find in maybe a vehicle accident, or maybe if you have a fire in a factory where they have equipment that has sources in. So you need to know what those sources are. So there's medical, there's industrial. Also, in the Philippines, you have quite a bit of radiation in the ground, right? And in the rocks, natural. And then we can also tell whether the radiation you're seeing is just natural. Maybe you go to a fancy government building, right, where they have all nice marble and granite stonework, right? Or maybe a bank or a fancy hotel where there's very nice stonework. Very often that stonework is radioactive. So you might go in and you might just find that what you're looking at is natural. So this will tell you whether it's natural and artificial, and if it's artificial, whether it's medical, whether it's industrial, or whether it's special nuclear materials, which means something atomic weapons could be made out of. Plutonium, everybody heard of plutonium? And highly enriched uranium. In other words, real bad stuff. You get that identification, you're calling up security people. Alright? Okay, so get you to start this one, right? So bottom button, hold it for like 2 seconds, and it comes on, and I go. Alright? So now we just switched it on. Alright, so this is very important. If you look at the display now, in the top it says learning, right? It's like a little bar. It's learning the background. It's learning how many counts, how many sieverts, and it's also learning how much low energy and high energy stuff there's in the background. It's learning what natural background looks like. Right? So that when we find a source, we can find out whether it is natural or whether it is artificial. Alright? Okay? So can you tell me when it's finished learning?
Combination pala yung dalawa.
Is it finished? So it's about 20 seconds. So when you switch it on, you want to be in a neutral, in a safe environment. Okay? So if Dennis here is the guy we think is setting off all the alarms, right? We don't run right up to Dennis and go, oh, now it's time to switch it on. Okay, that's bad. Alright? What we do is we switch it on over here, we wait for the learning for 20 seconds, and then we go over and find out why Dennis is generating an alarm. Okay? You're going to alarm? Yeah, well, I said there you go. Alright, so he's radioactive. Alright? So right away, it told us. Now, looks like this one's set up for automatic, so that's good.
Maybe you can explain to them that there is a manual and automatic.
Yeah, I'm going to. So right now, this is set up to automatically identify what it sees. So when we see the source, so we heard the source earlier, we heard it click, we heard it alarm. So this one, when I get an alarm, it immediately goes to analyze. So everybody remember, if I press that button one time, stops the alarm. All right? We just leave it. So it's now analyzing. All right? It's going to take about a minute, probably, maybe 2 minutes, depends how low the source is. You want to get as close as you can, and let's see, you can see that it says distance okay. We're in the middle. So we're going to wait till it gets to 100%, and then it will then identify what the radioactive material is. Now this is a very small source, all right? So it might take like 2 minutes. So it's going to tell us what it is. Do you have a question? Come on, tell me. What's the question? No question? Can you tell me what her question was?
There's no question. We just say that it's nicer to have that detectors so we can identify.
Yes. Right. So you can identify what the threat is to you. Right? So if this gentleman says, oh, I've just been to the hospital. Right? I just had a stress test. We can put this up and it says Tech 99 and we say, okay, he had a stress test. Right? Maybe this gentleman says, oh, I have a problem with my thyroid. All right? Maybe you went and had an iodine uptake. Iodine uptake. Then we'll be able to measure that it's iodine. Right? I'm going to pick up Mr. Rivera now. Right? Mr. Rivera is a terrorist. Okay? Everybody okay with terrorists? Are you okay with being a terrorist just for now? Right, so he says, oh, I went for medical. And we ID him. And it doesn't say a medical isotope, it says something else. It says cesium or something, and we say, okay, we're calling somebody else. Somebody with a gun. Alright? To talk to Mr. Rivera. Alright? So that makes sense? Alright. Okay, how are we doing here? So I'm up to 81% now. 82. So this is a very small source. If the source is bigger, it will identify much quicker. Right? So if you find an industrial source, a big cesium source, it might identify in like 10 seconds. 94, 95, 96. So what we do here is we wait until it finishes. Boom. And there we go. So natural, radium 226. Alright, radium 226. NRM is norm, naturally occurring radioactive material. And the 10 at the end is the confidence. 10 out of 10. Right, just press the button again. There you go.
Ah, kung
Do you want to pass that around? If it goes dark again, just press that button.